Tom.
Happy New Year, everybody! Tom Fox here. Figure I'd be doing some update videos on a monthly basis now, because first off, it's generally a good idea to keep everybody informed on the goings-ons of my channel, of pretty much anything that I would be doing. So this is gonna be a monthly thing where I give you all an update, answer a few of your questions. I've already parsed Twitter for some. If you want to ask questions for next month, you can leave them in the comments down below. But for now, let's just jump into the meat of things. First off, 2018 was one hell of a year. I had some slumps, but there were a lot of highs as well. And one of the biggest highs I had was right at the end of the year, I managed to break 100,000 subscribers, which, I mean, to like some of you watching who have seen like other YouTubers rise well beyond that level, probably doesn't seem like much, but to me, it's 10 years of work I've been putting behind this channel to see it blossom into the flower that it's grown into so far. I've already had 100,000 subscribers for about a week now. YouTube, where's my silver button? No, I'm not that kind of. I don't want to be that kind of guy. But anywho, yeah. So let's dive into a little bit more of the meat of things. First off, I want to plug my Patreon once again, because that is kind of like a little bit of extra help with getting some of this stuff done and getting equipment and doing all kinds of things. And into 2019, I also do want to expand on the content that I make that makes it a little bit more worth for the patrons on my Patreon to be subscribed to. One of those series is what I'm currently working on, is a Patreon exclusive series. It goes up live first for early access patrons, and then a week after it goes live for all patrons. At some point, it may be on the main YouTube channel, but for now, it's an entirely Patreon exclusive series. So, you know, donate at least $1 a month to my Patreon, gets you access to that series. It's called Grugnug's Quest. It's a Skyrim roleplay series that I'm playing in VR. I have like the entire setup here. And yep, it's going to be updated on a weekly basis until I feel like it's come to a decent finale. And each episode's a half-hour long, so this could be a series that expands years. So that's going to be very interesting. So yeah, head on over to Patreon if you want to check out that series, or if you just want to help with some of the stuff in the channel. Certain tiers will get you shout-outs, other tiers will get you early access to other videos like the vlog and things like that. And other tiers will allow you to talk face-to-face, person-to-person. Up next, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm uploading to the channel as far as like scheduling goes for this next month. I'm still in the middle of doing Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. That's going to be coming to an end maybe in about, I don't know, 2 weeks. It probably end by like mid to late January. And after that, I'm not really sure where I want to go with that in terms of solo content, but there is one thing I've wanted to try where I want to play games where a character from Smash Brothers is prominently featured. So for example, like I've never played any of the Castlevania games at all, so I'd play Castlevania 1 or Super Castlevania 4 to sort of get my intro with Simon, or I'd play Rondo of Blood to get my introduction with Richter. I think he was in Rondo of Blood, I'm not entirely sure. But I might do that as sort of like Let's Plays and streams and whatnot, and one of those could very well be the next Let's Play I do. I'll probably come up with like a list or something of all the games of the characters in Smash Brothers that I haven't played yet, and I'll try to do something along with that. Stream highlights are going to be the same as they always have. It's going to be week to week, or basically for however long it takes me to get a decent backlog of highlights to put on the channel. For example, these past 3 weeks, I streamed like twice one week, then went back to home for Christmas in Connecticut, didn't stream at all, and then streamed twice again this week. So those 4 streams that I did are gonna make up a stream highlight video for that week, kind of deal. So just wanted to get you know, your head wrapped around that a little bit. On top of that, there's also gonna be some changes to the vlog, mainly like the timing of them. Usually, what I would do is I would go from Sunday to Saturday and record that, and then they'd be out on Patreon for Tuesday, and then it'd be out on YouTube for everybody else on Thursday. Well, instead, I'm going Tuesday to Monday for recording the vlog, and part of that has to do with how I go to like conventions and whatnot. They're always over the weekend, and usually what'll happen is I'll end up like ending off on Saturday, and then we have the rest of the event on Sunday onward. So there's that. So I think it'd be better to get the entire event in one video, and have that be able to go up for everybody. And I usually leave these events on Tuesday or on Monday, depending on how long they are. So yeah, that's going to be one of the bigger changes. And also the fact that the New Year starts on a Tuesday kind of helps push that along as well. So yeah, the vlog is going to be changing a little bit in that regard, but it's basically just going to be change in when it actually comes out. The New Year's vlog, which I don't think will be live by the time this goes up. This is going up tomorrow after I record it, so on the 2nd of January. So yeah, that definitely won't be up by then. I still have a backlog of vlogs to edit from when I went back to Connecticut, but enough of that. Anywho, I also want to do some year-end videos, some best of 2018s, and I want to do 3, maybe combine 2 of those and make it 2. And those are going to be best of stream highlights, so best of Twitch highlights 2018, best of my YouTube channel, and best of the vlog. Best of the vlog could probably be combined into best of YouTube, but I'll have to see where that goes on that. The stream highlights one is really easy to put together because I could just go into my clips and see which ones have the most like interaction with them and download that. I already have all the clips needed for that, so you know that one should be up fairly shortly compared to like when we're doing, you know, this now. What am I even saying? Should be up fairly shortly is what I'm saying, whereas the other 2 are going to take a little bit more time of me having to research some stuff on my YouTube channel, see what I did, and you know, kind of go back into that as well. Oh, on top of that, I also want to put out a 100,000 subscriber special, whether it's me just doing something insane like, I'll just throw out a random example, going into a swimming pool full of sprinkles. Or if it's just gonna be me recapping the past 10 years, because I didn't actually make a 10-year video. All I did was sort of watch Smash Fighter, and we're not gonna delve into some of the stuff that was said in that series, because man, is that history. So yeah, there was all that, and yeah. Speaking of like my Twitch stuff, you can check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/TomFox. Perfect place for a shameless plug of myself, right? But anyway, yeah, twitch.tv/TomFox. I stream 4 to 5 days a week, variety of games. Right now I'm working on Smash Bros. World of Light and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. And I'll probably like have a bunch of other games in there as well. We might do Mario Kart with viewers. I need to do some sub game nights at some point, because I have been really slacking on those, but we'll get around to that when we get around to that. I also have an alternate channel specifically for the stream VODs, and that is Tom Fox Live, which doesn't have a custom URL yet. But if you just go into YouTube and search Tom Fox Live, or if you check down in the description, you'll find the link to YouTube.com. You'll find the link to Tom Fox Live. And that's all the Twitch VODs I've had probably since maybe August of 2017. There was a long process with that one of me downloading VODs that were about to be deleted on Twitch. So like there's like an entire backlog of like stuff from back when I first started streaming that just is gone. And the only remnants of that are the stream plays I did on my main YouTube channel, which were just those streams cut up into different parts. But yeah. Moving on from there, I figured now would probably be a good time to field some of the questions that you've been asking. I didn't pick out too many of them because I didn't want this video to run terribly long. But I did pick out what I feel is a good chunk. And like I said at the beginning of this video, if you want to ask a question, you can either ask me using the hashtag AskTomStuff, or you can leave a question down the comments. And that your question might be asked on next month's update video. So yeah, let's get to them. Sam19994990 asked, what motivates you to push past rude people in the comments on I'm assuming he meant streams, but he wrote Steams. Ignoring them, really? If there's somebody who's like pushing my buttons, well, if they're not purposely pushing my buttons, if I know they're just trying to like get a rise out of me, then I'll like, ignore them. But if it's like something where it's like they're trying to get a rise out of me, but they don't know the entire context of something, then I'll snarkily provide context to them. I'm terrible when it comes to that. Generally, a good thing to do would be to ignore them. If they're acting like a real jerk, I'll call them out on it. And then you know, it's just a matter of like, you know, the people who do kind of do that kind of have to remember that they're watching a flawed person, you know? Like, no streamer is going to be perfect. No game player is going to be perfect in that regard. No person is going to be perfect in general. So, you know, just... You gotta understand that everything that's happening on a stream is on the fly. It's not scripted to go exactly right the way that, like, you know, say, TV shows would, where, like, the drama's in exactly the right place and the solutions are... And it all wraps up in a nice, tidy little bow at the end. But yeah. So, I don't know if that answered the initial question, but that's the one I'm gonna go with. At Lauren Kozilski on Twitter asked, who is/was your biggest inspiration as a kid? By the way, keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much for that compliment of keeping up the great work. I would hope that my work is at least adequate if it's bringing back people to keep watching it. But anyway, on to the question. My biggest inspiration as a kid. I don't know how far back you're thinking of going with this, but I always admired voice actors from a young age. I don't know, like imitate cartoons and whatnot. You know, the first real voice actor that I really learned by name was Jim Cummings, the voice of a lot of characters such as like Winnie the Pooh. He was Cat and Cat Dog. You know, he's got such a large repertoire of stuff that he's done. He's amazing. He's one of my voice acting heroes, and I really looked up to him. But if you're looking more around the points where like I started YouTube and whatnot, my biggest inspiration was a YouTuber known as Shippage. Back in the mid to late 2000s, around like 2007, 2008, he had a series that was done in Super Smash Bros. Melee. It was a Super Smash Bros. Melee machinima called Smash TASM. And I remember coming across it initially because he basically had like what I consider to be optimal search engine optimization, even back then when that wasn't really a thing. Where I would just be on YouTube constantly looking for like Smash Bros. Brawl stuff, just, you know, just wanting to be more and more informed on it, just to, so that way, you know, just because I want, you know, everybody wants more information about games that are coming out that they're excited for. And in every single one of the Smash Bros. Brawl videos I would come across, in the recommended on the side would be Smash TASM. It'd be like episode, like, you know, when I first started finding it would be episode 1, and then like later I'd find like there'd be episode 2 and 3, and I never really watched them initially. And then it would just be like, oh, you know, maybe I should check this out. Maybe I can see like what it's about. And it sparked something in me. It sparked something in me to start actively making YouTube videos, to start pursuing, you know, machinima as an art form. And if it wasn't for Smash TASM, I would not be in the position I am right now, you know, at 100K subscribers on YouTube, streaming on Twitch the way I do. I don't know what I would be doing right now if that were the case, honestly, because I'm honestly not that hard of a worker. I'm not the brightest person in the world. I'd probably be working retail and still living with my parents. That like, considering everything, that seems like the likely path I would have gone down if it wasn't for me learning the ropes of content creation and YouTube and whatnot all those years ago. So yeah, you can thank Shippage for that. Shippage is also known for making the Starter Squad Source Filmmaker series. So yeah, that's pretty much how that goes. Sorry for the lengthy answer on that one. Let's see what the next one is. At Chaotic Ruin asks, the wide variety of voice tones you use. I'm assuming he means my actual voice, not like the effects where I can make myself be like, you know, ooh, I'm a silly robot. Do you have any exercises for your throat to avoid issues? So this is kind of interesting because I'm very much like a novice when it comes to like any sort of like professional voice stuff. I just like do silly voices like, oh, it's me, I'm Captain Olimar, or like any sort of goofy thing like that. And generally I don't think about it that much, you know? I mean, like, always, I guess like in terms of just general day-to-day life, I don't talk much in my day-to-day life. Most of my talking is saved for Twitch and YouTube videos. So resting your voice is definitely an important part. Drinking water, you know, if you feel something coming on, like your throat drying up or something like that, maybe like you know, again, I'm not really any sort of I don't know what the word for is it, but I'm not really, you know, that in-depth in a professional sense on the matter. So, like, you know, staying well hydrated is good enough. I think, like, some people have said, like, you know, avoiding dairy and certain meats before recording is something you should avoid, mostly for sound purposes, not necessarily for keeping this intact. Generally what I hear is, like, teas are generally good for, it's all health around your throat. So, like, teas and, like, showering with hot water, lemon, you know, those kind of things. So, kind of like the same things you would do to sort of cure a sore throat are generally good for soothing the throat. Lozenges. That's my take on it, but there's probably much more informed people out there. Authority. I'm no authority on this kind of thing is what I was trying to say. But yeah, it's probably more people who are more of an authority on it than I am that you can get the information from. But it's generally it's more or less like breathing exercises. From what I can tell anyway, breathing exercises, taking care of your throat, and knowing when to stop because you're getting hoarse and you're having issues speaking. I hope that answers that question. I'm gonna butcher this name. Isaias? I'm gonna go with Isaias Jimenez 87 on Twitter asked, what is your favorite game that came out in 2018? Oh, man. Smash, honestly. It's going back to, like, Smash is how I got my start on YouTube. I was obsessed with Brawl. You know, I didn't play Smash 4 as much, but, you know, Ultimate is really fun and it's really good and I like it a lot and it's probably my game of the year and and you know, that's definitely not coming from an objective place. That's entirely subjective. Like, I definitely have a bias. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite game series of all time. I think Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the best game that came out in 2018. It's at least my favorite. All right. Next question. The Bush Loft on Twitter asked, "What made you want to do Source Filmmaker shorts?" I went to college for 3D animation, if you could believe that. I graduated with a degree in it and never really used it. I never built up any sort of portfolio or anything like that, but I still had an inkling of the knowledge. And Source Filmmaker came out, the beta was released for people while I was still in college learning 3D animation. So I kind of built it upon that and would start doing Source Filmmaker animations this way. That's something I kind of want to get back into. They've dumped all the models for Super Smash Brothers onto Source Filmmaker, so I might take a look at something with that and maybe do something with that in the not too distant future. But yeah, it mostly has to do with my 3D animation stuff, and that sort of got me interested. I was also really big into Team Fortress 2 and like the Meet the series, and like I'd heard rumors about people having used a specific animations tool for the Meet the series, like the people at Valve created an animation tool for that, and when they released it to the public in a much more user-friendly manner, it was incredible. Fun fact: I'm actually the person who got oh no, I don't think I got Shippage his copy of Source Filmmaker. Maybe I did. I don't remember. I remember like recommending it. Like there was oh, I remember what it was. We were all like in the Machinima partner thing. And somebody on there who had connections to Valve was asking if anybody wanted to get into the Source Filmmaker beta, and I tagged Shippage in that post. So I think that, so yeah, no, I'm not gonna take credit for Shippage creating Starter Squad, but and I'm not gonna take credit for him getting his hands on Source Filmmaker because he wanted it anyway. But yeah, that's just a tiny, the most minuscule of fun facts there. God, making me sound like I'm on my high horse. I'm the reason Starter Squad exists! And finally, the last question I got in here is from @MikeYeti on Twitter, saying, is there a place you haven't traveled to that you would want to? Yeah, there's plenty of places I want to go to. A lot of them are, I really want to visit, like ancient, like the ruins of ancient civilizations, like Machu Picchu or I forgot what the pyramids were called, around that area, but like a lot of South American places, honestly, and Japan. At some point, I do want to go to Japan. There's, you know, generally it's a nerd thing. It's one thing to like, I don't know. It's, you know, at some point. Everybody was getting into like games or anime and wants to go to Japan. And I'm sure it would fit in great with all my knowledge of anime and whatnot. Yeah, no. But no, it just seems like it'd be a fun place to go to. A lot of like the nerd culture around there, I think would be very fun and exciting. And plus I've never really been in a place where I didn't know the language. I've been to Spain once. No, that's not true. Well, I've never been to a place where I didn't know the language and somebody with me didn't know the language. I've been to Spain, but I had high school Spanish on my side, so I was at least able to navigate a little bit. Plus I had a family with me who knew how to speak Spanish. Kind of, but we won't get into that. What else? I've been to Greece, but I went with my uncle who is Greek. So he was there to basically translate for the entirety of that. And that worked out really well. But yeah, ancient civilizations in places like South America and Japan are places that I would love to travel to that I have not gone to yet. And with that, I think it's about time I wrapped up this whole update and Q&A. Thank you so much for bearing with me for all these years if you're a veteran, and thank you for joining me if you're new to the channel. And as of course, I'll plug the stuff that I plugged before. I've got Twitter at Tom Fox. I got Twitch. Tom Fox. I've got the alternate YouTube channel, Tom Fox Live. I've got a Patreon, Tom Fox. You know, it's all just Tom Fox, no spaces. And if you want to ask a question for next month's update and Q&A, ask that question down in the description or on Twitter with the hashtag AskTomStuff. And with that, I believe that's going to be it. It's the beginning of a brand new year, and we'll be having this conversation again next month. See you all then. Later.